Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's your girl, Sade. Hey, bitches.
It's your girl, Charles Pinky.
I didn't know we were singing and I'm not prepared. It's Glynn. Oh, I kind of sang.
That was melodic.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. We are in the studio. Shout out to Mandy. We're at Full Court Studios. You know we love our good sis of See the Thing Is podcast and Horrible Decisions. And Chelsea is unfortunately not with us. We thought we were going to be able to Zoom her in. That was a little error. But you'll see we have a lovely guest and Blood. What's your name? Best Stop Brat. I'm like Blood. Blood Stop Brat.
I was about to start throwing up stuff and that's not
Don't
a
do
good
that on camera.
idea.
Don't do that on camera.
Glasses are red.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We do have a guest here today, Miss Nneka Julia. She's a Brooklyn-based writer, photographer, director, and host. As the daughter of immigrants from Cambodia and Nigeria, her work is undoubtedly inspired by and focuses on the intersection of culture, travel, and the human experience. She's currently working on her first book and adapting her podcast, Passing Through, to the screen.
Wow.
Welcome, Nneka.
Welcome.
We've wanted you on the show for such a long time. I'm so glad
I
it's
stalked
happening.
you down. I'm not going to
Lord,
lie.
child.
No, I was like, Glenn, text
She's
her.
like, get her. Ask her to come.
Ask her to come. Ask her to come.
I'm flattered.
No.
I'm flattered. Fan of the show. Big fan.
Okay, I'll hop in.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. I have a couple of things. I'm going to leave on red having to pack light. I've been in my group chat with these girls.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
I'm just
yes.
like, they're giving me so much shit because I like to have all my things with me. I understand. I've been packing lighter these days and we're going on this like big Euro trip and I'm trying to do as like the Europeans do. They're very chic. They bring like 3 shirts and 2 bottoms, 2 shoes.
3 shirts.
You know? That's how my
3.
dad be packing. All you
3.
need is 1 pair of pants. Like, you know, that's
Yes.
what they do. No, I need options. And then I
Yes,
want to go
yes.
shopping and, you know, you're traveling with a group. They don't want to have to wait with you by the damn
Exactly.
baggage claim.
Exactly.
So when I go
exactly.
home right now, I have to really try to like condense. Do you have
Like-
tips for that? Do you
I
pack
don't like
light?
packing light. My shit is always over. Always.
Really?
Religiously.
avid traveler.
I was
Religiously
going to say,
over.
because you stay catching a flight.
Yes, but it's just I have no knack for packing. I have no knack. Like it's a skill. It's a
is.
skill. Like condensing outfits. I'm not trying anything on before I go. You know the girls that are like,
They take pictures.
Oh, no,
Yes,
I do
you
that.
do
no
that?
pictures, though. But like,
You have a skill, though.
I write down each day what I'm doing. And then I write
That's
down, not like
some
anything
kind of
crazy,
insanity.
but no, it'll be like 5:30,
seriously.
Beyonce concert and dinner. And so
you'll
now I have the
pack-
context. I'll check the weather. And then I
this is a
will
document.
kind of have an idea.
This is an Excel document.
Yes.
Yeah, but
it
it's just written. It's scribble scrabble. It'll be like white top, black pants, Converse sneaker. But you have to do that because here's where you get lost in the shoes. If you don't think of the full outfit, then you're going to bring so many shoes because you're like, well, what if I want to wear that sandal? And it's like, you're never going to wear that sandal. It doesn't go with any of the outfits you have, but you don't know what outfits you have because you didn't plan the outfits.
I hear you. I don't have the shoe
I'm gonna do
problem.
that.
I have the like, well, what if I'm in this mood? And what if I'm in that mood? Or
Yes.
if I'm in the other? I don't want to commit
Yes.
myself to a mood.
But
I
that's why
agree.
you have core pieces that you swap.
I'm gonna do next trip. I'm doing this.
Just
I'm
make
scribbles.
the outfit. Just scribbles. It's nothing crazy.
Scribbles.
Literally, I
Okay.
was like, my aunt's throwing a barbecue. I was like,
What if you have no itinerary?
Mm.
Because that's how I usually when I go somewhere, there's no itinerary. There might be like one thing.
okay, you got me. I'm stuck
know,
there.
I have,
you're like-
I have the thought. What if you just pack for the vibe that you want to
Okay.
evoke, right?
Right.
Okay.
Like I'm telling myself this trip because I'm not doing no itineraries. What do I want to give?
You
what do I
have an
want to
ininerary.
embody?
I made it.
She did.
See,
I'm not
everyone
thinking
needs
about it. Yeah,
everyone needs a
this.
Sade.
I,
Never like everyone.
I'm just like I want to give, you know, sophisticated, chic, snatch me up and wife me,
Minimalist.
minimalist,
But then
Minimalist.
you're
overpacking.
overpacking.
minimalist. With
Minimalist
overpacking.
overpacking.
Make it make
This-
sense.
In
Yeah.
Europe is different though. I think packing for Europe versus like the tropics or the Caribbean. You know, like
Yeah.
Caribbean, you can throw in a little
Just throwing on
sundress,
bikinis and-
bikini.
yeah.
You're gonna be in that all the time. But
Right.
Europe, I found like when I was in Portugal, it was like there were different vibes in different parts of the city. So
We're going to have to get into
We're gonna get
that.
into that
for
when
sure.
the time
Yeah.
looks.
I just want to give some context very quickly, though, because she's giving me a hard time about this. But essentially, there is kind of like a break in between where I was like, you can bring a big bag for the shopping, but then once we leave Paris, we're going to leave our bag there because we're flying out of there. And so pack light for London and Portugal.
Here's the thing. London, I don't know what I want to give. I might want to be like super grungy, mate, and put on some boots and like... I'm gonna be in Shoreditch. Like, I want to do the whole thing.
I'm going to get flamed for that one.
I don't know.
know what you
I
want
want
to
to
be
get
on.
looks. I don't know what I might want. What I'm feeling. The water's the weather's
It's
temperate.
temperamental.
It's temperamental.
It is temperamental.
It is.
Do I need a coat? Anyway, kind of actually pivoting entirely to somebody that's currently like in a state of undress. Janelle Monae. I didn't get to talk about this on a previous episode, but I'm really feeling this little revolution. She's in this renaissance of like freedom.
Great breasts.
The titties
Amazing.
are amazing.
Incredible.
The body is just
body
sickening,
is
just head to toe.
It's hard to look away.
Whew, right?
It is.
And I believe, like, I don't know if you guys saw the Lipstick Lover video. It's just such a vibe, and I think it's just embodying the kind of energy I'm trying to be on in like the summer. And I heard this interview she did with Angie Martinez where she said actually for the album, she was inspired by Everyday People, which I thought was like super interesting. Like she was like, I just love the move. Like, do you know that party series?
Yes.
Have you been to one?
No, I haven't been to one yet.
This summer.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to
Her
have to
summer
get
in
you
Brooklyn.
out.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is actually, if you listen to the show, we had Nunny on the show a few months back.
Yeah.
Who's a part of the Everyday People like collective.
Yes.
And we were talking about how it's just this amazing space for Black and brown people to come and dance and be free and feel fine and sexy. And Janelle said that that's what she was inspired by. And I've been thinking a lot about how like celebrities, even when they reach a certain level of celebrity, they still want to like tap in with what like the people are doing. And like they're super influenced by like the kind of movements we're making on a local level. And yeah, I just think the people that are hating on her, living her life and being free are focused on the wrong things.
Absolutely.
I've been seeing in the comments, they're like, I miss her suits and all this type of shit.
Really?
It's like
People say, but why are people not allowed to evolve?
Wow.
Without you feeling like they're doing it to pander or get attention or like...
I forgot about the suits, to be honest.
Right.
With you. I mean, when you like...
I'm okay that we moved on from the suits.
Truly.
I want to see my artist reinvent.
Yes.
And as a true artist, you should, right? And I see that in Janelle, and I think she seems like so liberated. Nothing about it feels like forced to me.
Yeah.
So I think it's authentic, and I fuck with it.
Absolutely. Even the suits. I remember watching an interview where she was talking about the suits were based on one of her parents being doing janitorial.
Yep.
And it was like this uniform. Yeah. It was a uniform that she felt like she had to put on. So this type of liberation is, I think, bigger
She's like
than...
stripping of all of that.
Yes.
Yes.
That type
so
of liberation
cool.
is beyond like,
Good
oh,
for
I
her.
wish you were wearing this thing that was representative of kind of like, I'm going to work. I'm putting on this thing. I'm going to work. I have to perform. So I'm with it. I'm with it.
Her.
She
better work.
That's real. That's
And show off that body.
Okay. Because why wouldn't you?
Why would you not? That don't need to be in no suit, no buttons.
No.
We were talking about this on the Patreon, but we went to her party after the Met Gala, and she was like, I want to see y'all with your shoes off, dancing.
Right.
Like sweating, all of that.
And I was like, well,
I'm
I
not
never
gonna
take my shoes off. However, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't want to be in a perpetual state of doom and gloom as it comes to my back pain. So y'all know what it is. But what I am going to leave on red is kind of like the stress that comes before a trip because you're just like trying to get so much done. And honestly, I was talking to my acupuncturist and she was like, you're just stressed. Like the stress is just all in your body. And she's like, I think when you go on your vacation, like your back's going to feel so much better because you're just like letting go. We were joking offline. She was like, you're going to hit that North African soil and you're going to be fine. And you were like,
Yeah, so Sade, that African soil ain't going to heal.
right, the African soil is not going to be
going to heal you.
Why would you say that? I mean, the warm air. I don't know.
You're going to Morocco. So I can't speak for Nigeria. All I can speak for is Nigerians.
Right.
You would suffer more in that soil. But Morocco.
That suffering soil.
I've been
more
to Morocco.
soft.
It's yeah.
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 Listen,
You
back
know,
braces
I
on
feel
deck.
like there's desert. There's
Oh, it's
desert.
desert. I'm like, maybe the
I love
warm.
Nigeria, but there's a lot of jaga jaga that
Right,
goes
you're
down
like,
there. Yeah, a lot of
right,
you know.
jagged streets.
Yes.
Okay, I see your point.
Well,
Yes.
I'm thinking that I'm not bringing a laptop.
Love it.
iPad's coming. That's it. And I'm just vibing. So I'm trying to let go some of the stress because I realize I do this to myself, like packing so much into a day, doing the most. And I really just want to shed that completely from my life. So I'm leaving that on red, but it's great as a transition, a renaissance, if you will. And yeah, on the flip side of that, I'm just replying to travel. I love traveling so much. Like it just makes me so happy. And I think it'll be lovely to talk to you about it. But I can't even describe the feeling. Like I got up this morning like a kid on Christmas and I was like, okay. Like everything's packed, everything's done. I've run all the errands. I took out the cash, the passport's in the bag, the Xanax is in the bag, like everything is done. Everything is done. Like anything I could ever need is there. And now I just get to go and experience all of it. And like I definitely have a wanderlust. I have an addiction to exploring and getting lost in new cities and meeting new people. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. And there's so many chapters to this trip that we're about to take. Like I'm going to be alone for some of it. We're, connecting with family in certain parts. Like it's just so, I just love it.
I feel like such good things for this trip.
Such good vibes.
Yeah.
Such good vibes.
Yes.
I'm really excited. So fully replying to that, if you all are trying to think of your summer travel plans, you need to join our Geneva. So we'll make sure that that's in the description and wherever, because we have been just chatting in there about all things. And I feel like we can give some tips, some recommendations. Between the three of us, there's a lot of countries, cities that we've been to. So get out, hit the streets, whether that's local, within the States, or you're going abroad, you gotta go.
Is there any stop that you're most looking forward to?
I think Morocco.
Yeah.
I think Morocco is it. It's a short trip.
Go ahead. Say why you're doing it.
I'm going to buy a rug.
That was not the answer I was expecting.
But it makes sense.
So I'm
What
going
shoes
to buy.
did you pack to buy the rug?
I'm going to buy Birkenstocks.
Yes.
That's the outfit for the shopping day. But I'm going to buy a rug. And I've just been redesigning my living room, and like I really like that kind of aesthetic and style and design. And I was like, okay, the rug is the centerpiece. Like this is going to be it. And then everything will kind of build off of that. So getting rugs and pillowcases and poofs and just lots of tchotchkes. And yeah.
I'll say Morocco was probably the first trip that I took that like opened my mind in like a crazy way. Like I remember landing there and being like, oh shit, like this is crazy. I don't think though until that point I'd ever been to a place that had like a bustling marketplace and like that much like movement. And I was studying abroad in Milan at the time, so we've been traveling like all around Europe. And then a friend and I went to Morocco, and we were staying like in the like center, going down all these like little alleyways and stuff. And we went to a hammam, like a bathhouse that was like a women's only bathhouse, and we were all like washing each other and stuff and sharing like black soap and talking and stuff, and it was crazy. I was like in there crying. I was like, this is wild. I've never been to a place like this before. It was like all the smells, like sensory, like just overload,
right?
like sitting up on the rooftops, like smoking a hookah and hearing like the call to prayer and drinking tea. Getting henna, like all this stuff is so cool.
Wow.
I'm definitely gonna go back because this is like kind of like just a pop in.
Like a taste.
It's good taste. But I'm really excited, and I think it's gonna be pretty fab.
Yeah, it's gonna be fab.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Guess it's my
Are you
turn.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm
Yay.
ready. Let's see. What am I leaving on red? And this is top of mind, really.
Yeah.
It's like I'm leaving on red this need to perform vulnerability. I think like and to be understood, I think it's like two sides of the same coin. Of like I think especially on social, there's this trend since the
Talk about it.
I think the start of the pandemic of like a beautiful photo of yourself talking about your depression.
Yes.
Or a video, 5 takes of you crying. Like, we know it took 20 takes of this teardrop.
Quite cringy.
Quite cringy. Of where it's like, I was talking to a friend the other day and getting like quite frustrated, or maybe she was more of an acquaintance. I gotta stop saying friend. But, like she was an acquaintance I was talking to who does similar things, in the art space. So she does photography, videography, all that stuff. And I want to talk about what goes into the sausage when I'm around people like that. Of like, we know the angles, we know the lighting, we know the words to say, we know how this will perform. And she didn't want to she wanted to continue to suspend her disbelief. Like, and for me, over the past 3 years, that's completely dropped. Of like, yes, there's spaces where we can do that in social, but this, being in real time, seeing your face, gauging your reactions, watching the eye contact, like that, to me, I don't want that to go undervalued anymore. I think that's why a lot of us suffer in silence. A lot of us suffer alone because we think liking a story is the same as checking in on someone. Like, I saw it, happy birthday. Like, it's like, the performance of vulnerability, I think, is adding to the level of loneliness that a lot of people experience. And I know my leave on red is a little it's that of where I realized I was like craving this like, you see it, right, and there wasn't that response. So it's probably me who was projecting, but I was just like, we can do this right here and be with each other and have this moment, this real life moment, this time that we're spending that we can't get back. And that's not valued as much as me, like, putting up a camera, putting up a ring light, shedding a tear and being like, I'm just like you guys.
Yeah.
I'm suffering, and refreshing to see how many likes and comments.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Like, that's where we're at, of where I really want to put that down and be a better friend and be a better acquaintance, even in terms of checking in on people. Like, so
then how do you contextualize that as a person who creates content and tells stories?
It's like, I try not to say anything unless I have something to say. Like, I really am like, if I'm going to put something out there, it's going to be a piece of myself. Like, I'm not going to just say, like, how can I get, my question to myself is never, how can I get the biggest reaction? Or how can I get the most likes? Or how can I get the most comments?
Genuine.
Or like, it is not, and I'm not saying I'm the most authentic person in the world. Like, I know what goes into this stuff. I know what music does to our brains. And what track to put on something, on a poem, to where people feel something. So it's like, I have to ask myself the question before I put anything out, before I create something, is like, yo, would I create this without anybody watching?
Yes.
Is this true to who I am, what I'm feeling in the moment? Yes, the questions may stay the same, but the answers will change, right? Is this my answer at the very moment? Like, will this make somebody possibly feel less alone? If I'm creating art like that, like if it's like some drink videos and it's just, it's just for shits and giggles, but it's like, for the other stuff, I have to ask myself those questions. And not saying, like, not hating on the people that do, but it's like, who don't do that. But I think it's a dangerous place to play in. Yeah. For people that you have this power. I think it is power. With great power comes great responsibility, right? So I think, we underestimate the power we have in these spaces socially, where digitally some people that are very alone are looking to you for some answers. Yes. And very alone, and you may be feeding them like raccoon meat. Like, seriously, like, you're feeding them raccoon meat of emotions and vulnerability and authenticity, when it's not that. Like, that this is, the other shit that you were posting didn't work, so you gotta
pull that tear out.
You gotta go the other route. Right. I gotta tell you that
is so
like
scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying to see, because I've seen it in real time. I've had friends who admittedly do it and think, it's a performance.
That's wild. And it's all just to, like, continue to keep churning out content.
Yes.
Yes.
So Is it ethical if it's not, real time? I don't know. It's like, it's all a meat factory.
Damn, this is an episode topic. I'm like, you could run a lot of ways with this because you could say so much of this about any insert, artist, musician, Doja Cat, when she was like, "Ha, I made my little pop bullshit, and y'all loved
ate it up. Y'all ate it up.
Bye."
Like,
I was like, oh.
I also thought that was interesting, though, because I feel like she was just in a mood when she did that.
Yeah, of course.
But then also, I mean, there's something to be said about that, too, right? You just, be saying stuff. But maybe that was, that was a moment of authenticity. I don't know.
Right. But it's like, we do, though. We want to escape for a little bit, and so people just suspend their disbelief. They're like, oh, no, this is like Love Island can't be scripted. Like, none of this stuff, Love is Blind can't be scripted.
I don't think Love Island is scripted.
Like, there's producers, right, they're not that show, like, it's like, or Love is Blind and stuff, like, it's like, there's these things, even if it's not scripted and there's people present in this, incubator of sorts, Stockholm syndrome of sorts, you got a flame of fire. Like,
there's strategy.
Producers, like, pre-production was already a part of the script.
Yep. Because they started picking y'all, being like, oh, yep. Exactly. That's how that's going to go.
Exactly. And we had the Real World before that, right? Of like, they were not picking all sane people to do the Real World.
No. Not at all.
They were not.
No TV, no phone.
That was a time to be alive as well.
Exactly.
That makes me think, because you texted earlier this week talking about like the ways that we're obsessed with celebrity.
Oh, that was. Oof.
We won't name that the celebrity that was in question because I'm scared.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But a certain celebrity. I'm not gonna. You say what you said, child.
I got really high and I started just scrolling through Instagram, and I ended up on Beyonce's Instagram, and I was like, everything is so curated. And I was like, I'm freaked out by this right now. Like, I was like having it was a high thought, but then it just like snowballed where I was like, who picked this? And why did she do that? And why is Jay-Z over here like, is this a real photo? Did they stage this? Like, what's happening? And then I just like kept going around like, why are we even obsessed with her taking a photo in this elevator or wherever
and then
she is?
She gives us no caption.
0.
And then like 10 million likes.
Yeah.
And just off of like a blurry picture of an oyster. Bro. And like some poses. It's
I'm
crazy.
like, why are we so obsessed?
I liked it too. And you know how many people I saw repost it?
Look at you.
Repost different versions of those pictures.
It is kind of scary.
It is.
It is. I think just that fact in general, when you start thinking about it, and you're like, whoa, wait, she's flesh and blood too.
Right.
Exactly. I was didn't I say it? I was like, is she AI?
Right. Somebody said Ice Spice was AI. It was an
Honestly,
AI.
if there was if there was to be a rapper that was AI,
yeah,
it would be Ice Spice.
People have spotted her in the real world, but she would make so much sense as an AI because we're just like fixated.
Like, you think she's real, she's not real.
Like, right. You just can't stop looking at her.
It's wild. And you could go down a rabbit hole with this shit because it's just like, it's a part of the human condition at this point.
It is. But how many people, like, there's that on a micro level too, right? Like, where YouTubers, like, these huge Instagram, like, YouTubers have crazy fans.
Oh.
I love a good YouTuber. I love him.
Like, but it's how many YouTubers do we have to see break down? Like, do the apology videos.
They go on a tour.
My mental health, suffering, I gotta take a break.
Yeah.
How many people do we have to see do it? Because it's like, you're acting as your own personal paparazzi. Like, you're literally like your PR, your paparazzi, your curator, your moderator, your like it's all this stuff of where you're like, wait, who am I? I've never heard so many people in just private conversations admittedly be like, I don't know who I am.
Right. And then you get lost in all of what you're expected to be and what you've created. So who are you genuinely?
Yeah. And a lot of people don't have the friendship that even the both of you have. Where you can tell, it's like you both know each other. There's a sisterhood. It transcends friendship, which a lot of people don't get to. It's like, we're friends, take it or leave it. Family is, we may be in a different season, but we'll find a way.
Right.
We'll find a way. So It's like when you don't have that and people to be like
nothing to ground. Yeah.
You have nobody. You have no mirror being held up to you.
I want to be like, I know you.
Right.
I know you're in a moment right
shit.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop. Like the tart
That's
situation.
so lonely. I know. I was thinking about the tart situation.
The internet. Well, on the bright side, what are you replying to?
What I'm replying to is I think situations like this. I think in real life, person connection. I'm not fully, we're in an interesting space, I think, with AI and with the digital. This is still fairly new. Like AIM was not that long ago. Pre-internet was not like we've lived through that.
Yes.
So we're now in these spaces and people are like, we're trying to be sold that those are where we're going to find connection, that these are the places where we're going to feel seen and heard. And it just, our brains aren't wired that way. Like they don't process an emoji the same way they process a smile. We're not there yet. We're just not. So I think real life memories, experiences, things that the Euro trip that y'all are about to go on, like this is stuff that people talk about on their deathbed. That's scientific.
Oh my God, it's so true.
It is. Of like, you don't talk about your job. You don't talk about the last story post. You don't talk about the tweet. You're like, Sade and I, we did some shit and ended up at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Like,
right.
it's like, like, it's like, it's that is the stuff that you talk about when you are going to pass. It's not the stuff that we're concerned about on our phones. So why not more of that? That's what I'm replying to.
Yeah. I love that.
That's beautiful.
I love
I just have like 10 questions in that. So we have to just hop into the group chat, I think. Travel. What are y'all's thoughts on people that make travel like their personality? Like, I don't know if you've seen that on like, like the dating apps. I see a lot. They'll be like, together you and I could travel. They're two truths and a lie are all like travel related. And like, you're like, that makes like on paper, I'm like, I guess that's interesting, but that's like not interesting anymore actually. Because you're not saying anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I can't stand that shit, to be honest.
So then what's the difference? Because we just went into how we all
I
love
know,
it so
I was
much and
like-
can do it all the time, right?
I think it goes back to the performance of it all
Yeah.
and then like how genuine you are about it. Like, are you truly passionate about this or, I hate, and I'm going to use the big H. I hate when people travel just to have the same experiences that they would at home. Like, that's why I'm anti-Tulum and the
Yes.
Tuluminati because
had
we
fun at
just
Tuluminati.
we just create these spaces and like it's just colonization again where like we create American or we can say European spaces in non-American or European spaces to make ourselves comfortable.
Yeah.
Just to be like, I'm in Dubai, but it's just
Dubai
like
is so odd.
I'm at a mall in California. Like,
Right.
did you connect with people? What did you eat? Oh, when people travel and then they go eat shit that you could get at home, I'm like, why are we doing this? Don't get me wrong, though. I love P.F. Chang's in Mexico. Shout out to P.F.
And
Chang's
it's
in
not
Mexico.
good.
It's
It's
pretty
not
fire.
good.
That is
No,
such
it's
a
not.
random pick.
It's so random. So random. But you know what I mean? So then it's like, do you like traveling? Or
Right.
like, is this like a part of the like flex?
It's all flex.
Flex, and I
all
think it's
flex.
just people don't want to sit still or like be stagnant or something.
They
I
don't want to be
guess.
uncomfortable. And the important part of traveling is to be uncomfortable.
Right.
Because it pushes you to learn something new about yourself. But if you do your same habitual things just in a different place,
There's no
you could have
point.
stayed home.
You could have stayed home.
what is the point of
You
that?
could have stayed. But that's
could
what I
have
mean. I
stayed
think people
home.
are just like, I'm catching flights. I'm on the go. But you're like not going anywhere. But I don't know. See, now I feel like I'm dipping into some territory of where it's like, well, at least people are going, right?
Oh, see, that's my qualm though. Of like, no, I feel like I used to feel that way. Like of at least people are going and extend grace and like it's like, yo, you can tell. If I asked you both about your trip, you would tell me about the people you met.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that won't even discuss that. Nothing moves them. You go to a place, you travel to a place, you're booking this ticket, you're getting a picture by the infinity pool, and you're treating the bartender like shit.
Yes.
That's just, you take who you are wherever you go. I don't like certain people. I'm like, I hope you don't go anywhere.
I agree.
I'd like, please don't export this.
I agree. And I think that what's unfortunate is it's just like another layer of privilege that we do have to be able to see the world and see these things and have these experiences. And I struggle with this very often as someone who loves to travel, where I don't want to take that for granted and understand that, like, yeah, I'm equally a part of some of the problem. Like, I'm contributing to this tourism economy that, like, people depend on and they have to do the song and dance. But at the same time, I think that people have to push themselves out of their comfort zone. Like, I'm about to be speaking Arabic, and
absolutely,
I'm about to figure it out today. I'm about to figure it out on the plane.
Yes. At least try.
Hello, thank you, goodbye, how are you?
Yes,
shukran.
That's it.
Is that a word?
Okay.
I think so.
A little something.
I think that's thank you.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting a thumbs up. Okay. I want to be your little Habibati Yalla.
Okay.
Like, let's go. And how fun is that?
That makes the experience. It's a personal thing. That's why I think when it reaches the internet, right? Like, and I'm guilty of floating breakfast. I did a floating breakfast in Bali, okay? Like,
the floating breakfast.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Okay, can we please talk about it? Because can you even eat off of it?
Did you see them on Love is Blind? We were eating off the thing?
Yeah.
It was moving all over the place.
Cold. It gets cold because of the water and the wind.
And how many pictures were you taking before you even start eating the food?
I actually started eating it. Like, with the friends that I was traveling with for a minute, like at the onset of like travel photography, stuff like that I was doing, obsession with getting the shot of where everything would be cold. I'm munching on it, getting yelled at. Like, I'm like, I realized at that point, after a while, I was like, I just can't. Actually, Morocco was a trip where I was like, I'd rather be able to afford this than be working like a mule.
Oh my God.
And then be nickeling and diming to get a shot somewhere of a place that you can't stay, because that's the case for a lot of people that create this type of content that claim like, oh yeah, I'm getting paid for this. Is like, you're getting paid for this, but could you pay for it outside of the gig?
Exactly.
That's an important question. But it's flex. You see a lot of the same American experience, but also the same landmarks. The same like, oh, I liked this picture. I'm gonna go get this exact same photo. And I'm
from that angle,
and I'm not gonna it's for an audience. I think I wonder, and I ask my parents sometimes, like, what was travel like before you could show it before you could put it on the gram? Like, people were traveling? They've always been traveling, but there was no like experience for an audience to share. Yeah, I wonder what that was like, to be honest, because now it's like I catch myself doing it of like, oh, I'm somewhere, like I should take a picture and I should share and I should provide a story as to the background as to why I'm here and who I'm talking to and who I met. And it's like, that stuff can come later. It's okay. You can enjoy it.
Try to stay in the moment.
Yeah, you can enjoy it.
Yeah,
like, should you? Do you have to right now? We were talking about that the other day, like, just feeling called to post something. Like, when you like you just said earlier, when you have something to say. Like, I just came off of a press trip. And when I've gone on press trips in the past, I'd be like, I have to get the story. I have to figure out what I'm going to say. And then I just like couldn't even enjoy being there really, because I just was thinking about the deliverables when the genuine story could come later. And it was just, I think this is a thing for the industry too, for like the partners you're working with to like just let you cook. Like, let me rock.
Yes.
Like, let me go home and sit with
Don't
what
have
happened.
me hashtagging immediately.
Yeah, like I'm not going to do it yet.
Yeah.
For sure. It's become a flex, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's become the ultimate. It's a social currency of sorts.
Definitely.
Like, even if somebody lives at home, like, no shade to home, because I've lived there,
Yeah.
Like, but even if your apartment don't gotta look like shit, you ain't gotta be shit. But as long as you're catching flights, as long as you're in these places, as long as you're taking these pictures, I can craft a whole narrative.
Yes.
Around like what my life actually is.
Yes.
Just
and who
based
I
off
am.
of that. Yeah. Which is insane. That I can't believe it's on dating apps. So like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, heavy.
That's just their whole personality. Is we could catch flights, literally. And do what though?
They put all the flags in the
All the
bio.
flags of where they've been.
Not the
But that doesn't actually tell me anything about you. I actually want to know like what you do when you go there, or like what calls you to go there, and what you look for when you land in a place. Like that tells me who you are, not that you just like took the trip, you know?
What calls both of you to travel? I'm curious. What is that feeling that pulls you towards a new place?
I think for me it's the unknown. Like when I studied abroad in Argentina, this is probably so unsafe, but I would just ride buses because the buses are really cool. They're called colectivos, and they're kind of like wild, some of them, and I would just ride the bus and just like look at where I was and figure out where I was, and then figure out how to get home, and just be in a random ass neighborhood. And like I love that. I honestly think this is probably a condition, because even when like I drive home, I have to drive in different I can't take the same route home like consistently.
That's not a condition.
I'll be like,
that's good.
That's good for your brain.
I took Atlantic. Now I'm gonna take Fulton. Oh, I'm gonna take the long way, because I need the stimulation. So I think it's like the stimulation of, I don't know where I am. I don't know what this is. What's gonna happen when I turn the corner? Like I love that. I love that feeling, and I'm always like chasing it.
Ooh, that sends like a shiver in my chest. But like I like that too. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, because I not studied abroad. I was in the Peace Corps in Cambodia, and we were all in this van, because they put us all in these like provinces across the country.
Kampong Chhnang.
Kampong Chhnang.
The fact that you both are speaking Khmer is tripping me out right now.
Oh my God.
I pulled up on her in the village.
Yes. Oh my God.
I never thought I'd be sitting with two Brooklynites.
Yes.
Who speak Khmer.
I mean,
a little bit. Yeah, you speak a little bit Khmer. I knew that. Like,
I was trying to speak it the other day, and I was like, oh my God, so much of it is gone. This is so sad.
You gotta call the fam up.
I know, I have to.
They can ask you why you're still not married.
I know they will. They ask all the
they will.
time. They ask me if I want to have a Khmer wedding. But I remember, like, when we were about to get our placements to our villages, I was like, I want to be put out, like, far. Like, y'all could put me anywhere. And then they really did. Like, they dropped everybody off before me, and then we just kept going, like, deeper and deeper into, like, the bush. And I was like, fuck, oh my God, like, what am I doing? And I was like, like, it made me feel so crazy and, like, excited. And I like kind of feeling out of sorts in that way. Like, I like to feel like my body in another space, and like I feel like I hear my thoughts differently, and like that's mostly what it is. I hear myself differently. I feel like way more grounded.
Yeah.
100%.
What about you?
I think like it's been interesting. It's shifted for me. Like before it was like I just love, like when I was getting into photography, it was more so like I can't wait to capture these places and the people that exist in them. And now it's like, it's such a deeply personal thing, like the both of you stated, of like, I want to see how my spirit lands, like everywhere. Like, because it's a spiritual thing. You meet the people, you experience the culture, you're tasting the food, you're living as someone who lives, if you are seeking a certain type of experience, right? You're like, without disrupting anyone, you can exist as someone who could live there, right? Like, it's like, and you see your body has a reaction to it as much as your mind, and you see how it settles, you see how it lands.
It's gonna get fixed. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it might get fixed in Morocco.
Well, when you might be like, just
ride
have
a camel,
nothing, right?
No might
pain
ride
there
a camel,
at all.
and it just the hump knocks it back in place. Literally, like it just. I have like on top of like how my spirit lands is like just I know I'm gonna meet people. I know there's no place I've been without that lacks an interesting conversation, that lacks like a story. So I think that is always something to look forward to, and something that's intriguing to me about travel. It never ends. Like photos and videos don't do it justice. It never does.
I mean, what a beautiful segue to talk about passing through.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So tell the girls who might not know about passing through what it is.
It is a personal podcast, single narrative, and I talk about just like the wisdom, revelations collected through travel and self-exploration. So it's like the backdrop is travel, but there's always a story that came with it, because practicing photography, you can get that shot on a camel in Morocco, but people had no idea what I was going through, at that point in time, which is what I think was lacking and what I was giving to the internet at the time is like, you kind of don't know who I am. Like that's how I felt, which is like, no, you don't fully owe that. No way you can do that, I think, in any art form, is give that three-dimensional view of who you are. But you can be honest about what your experiences are. So for me, it's like, oh, I can say I was in London, and I can show you those pictures and videos, or I can say that I had a paradigm-shifting conversation with my cousin about love. And I can tell you what that was, and hopefully those listening can, maybe it turns it even a degree for them. So it's like that to me is what passing through has always been, is this outlet of, let me archive this understanding that I'm coming to of self, and let me archive these lessons that I've learned in these places, in these spaces, in these areas that I've passed through. So,
yeah. You've taken us to Puerto Rico with a relationship that was almost about to end, and to Costa Rica with a lover that you wasn't really feeling. And then in the recent season, you've taken us through emotions versus through physical places, but they are places of feeling. So you have passing through jealousy and passing through expectations. Can you talk to us about what you were getting at with passing through expectations? Because I think there's some lessons in there.
Yes. There was, I think, post any relationship where there's a lot of lows, like there's a lot of extreme lows, which give way to middles, which you think are extreme highs, like any relationship where it's like extreme lows and then a middle, like getting out of it, there's a certain desperation to redeem oneself, through other people, through another person, of being like, I am still wanted, I am still deserving of love, but I'm willing to kind of find it anywhere. And for me, it's like that expectation of somebody that I just randomly met at a bar, who was the complete opposite of this person that I dated. I was like, okay, this will prove that it's not me. Like, this will prove that it's not me. We exchanged numbers and everything. And I had this just expectation of what this relationship, how it would unfold, how they would love me in a way that I hadn't been I don't know this man. I still don't know this man. Like, I never wanted to know this man, but I wanted him to want me so badly that it skewed like what even my, I think, mean was in terms of dating. I didn't even know what it was. It's like I just wanted this thing so badly, which I think anything burst of desperation is going to give way to expectations that aren't realistic. Like, it's like I projected, and I can admit that. In hindsight, I can admit that. I think a lot of it are like, oh, well, I want this to happen so bad. And it's like, that's not, you're dealing with a whole other human being. You're not dealing with like a college. It's not a college degree.
Listen,
this is that narrative stuff.
Like,
oh my God.
I write down my outfit. So imagine what the narrative I create about a damn relationship. I'll be at the end of the movie.
Stop.
Right, at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie, and I just
with the opening credits.
I don't even we haven't even exchanged numbers yet. So I hear you.
How do you manage that?
Whew.
Or do you?
I think I've gotten much better at it. It's taken some time. I have been navigating it in my current relationship. And I don't think it's lowering your expectations, because I think having an expectation of sorts is important, because it's essentially, this is how I would like things to be. You tell me how you would like things to be. We find a common ground. We figure something out. Or, your boundaries, your standards, just things that like are your non-negotiables. Very important. I think when you create a full narrative of how this person is supposed to interact with you, and not actually say to yourself, well, they're a person and they have an opinion and they have feelings and maybe they were going to handle this differently. Like, that completely ruins, honestly, getting to know that person.
Yes.
And experiencing that person. And I think accepting that you cannot have that control was so important. And when I kind of started to like let that go, not just in relationships, I think in a lot of elements of life, because we can easily create narratives around what we want, what we expect, how it's supposed to go. Listen, I still do it. I still do it.
I am not perfect.
So I'm not even gonna lie to
do.
you. But I think that when, plan A doesn't go how plan A was supposed to go, I'm not over here like, oh no. Like, I'm just rolling with the punches. And my hope is that I get to a point where I don't even write out the plan. I'm just like taking it on, embracing what it is.
Yes.
But I think expectations is a beautiful thing to talk through in terms of like passing through, because we all do this.
Yeah.
Question for you. Why is travel a welcomed unknown and relationships are expectation driven?
To be honest, because I thought about this as we were talking through it, it like popped up in my head. I think it is like the antithesis of everything that I am. I am type A. I'm a planner. I'm organized. I'm on top of things. Granted, it's organized chaos because it might not make any sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to me. And I just like my life in a certain way. I don't like unexpected things to happen. I like to be in that control. Travel, there is no control. Someone took a wrong turn. You don't know where you are. You're confused. You're lost. And you have to navigate through all of it. It's almost like masochistic.
Is it because, though, this is the thing that's so interesting about travel, right? Like, I remember one time having this conversation with my dad, and he'd be like, we were in Cambodia, actually, sitting by like a river. And he's like, man, I don't want to go back to the real world. And I was like, but this is the real world, right? Like, this is a part of your life. You're here now, and then you're going to be home tomorrow, but nothing that happened here isn't going to come with you. Like, if you're present there, it's the real world, right?
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I wonder if you're looking at that as at these travel experiences as like removed from.
That's a good point.
I think that is part of it, and I think I do bring a different side of myself, which I should bring into my day to day. But yeah, it is a little like I just like, what is it? When you take your shoes off, let your feet hang. I don't know. You know the saying. I can't think of it.
I don't know that that's it at all. Let your hair down.
Let your hair down.
Wow. Take your
shoes
feet
off.
off.
Let your feet hang.
As someone who doesn't take off their shoes. You're like, I don't take off my shoes right now.
Oh my God. Let your hair down and just vibe out. But also, we had an interesting situation where my boyfriend, we were all on a trip together. We had a little tiff because, and granted, this is very layered, so I'm not trying to put all the blame on him, but basically we were all hanging out, and it was like 11 p.m., midnight, and we were all like, let's get on a bus and go to the beach. We're in Mexico City. We were going to take a 4-hour bus to Acapulco.
Can I just add, we were at like this art festival in Mexico City that was starting to just feel like, like the same people. Like, I felt like I was in Brooklyn, Art Basel, like it was just, ready to go. I was like, nah, like I want to do something different. So in the middle of the night, we're like, let's go to Acapulco, overnight bus. Yeah. We out. We're like, let's get to the beach. Let's
go. So like,
again. We're screaming. Oh my God.
So some spontaneity.
Yeah.
You both were like, oh, we could just leave.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is holding.
Travel does have some like spontaneity, even though I'm an itinerary girly, I will go with the flow. But my boyfriend was like, no. Like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not just getting on a bus in the middle of the night and going to the beach. And I was like, no, what? Like, oh my God, all my friends are going, like, let's do it. And in retrospect, lots of layers. He hadn't been there before, so he didn't know what was going on. Black man with a bunch of women on a bus in the middle of the night in Mexico.
You coming with us.
Right.
Wait, where am I being taken?
Where am I going? Right.
So, like, I think we gave him a lot of shit because we were like, you're being so boring. Like, let's go. But I think it is that element of, like, the impulse and the shock. And, yeah, it's very complex. But I think it's definitely like a high in a way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. It's a release, I feel like. Because even sometimes I've seen people that type A-ness carries into travel. So you have an itinerary, but there's something that my brain needs in terms of like this unknown stumbling upon.
Parts unknown.
Oh, yeah. I was watching that in the dentist's office the other day. Oh my God, I miss Tony.
I know, Tony.
They put the shows up on the scene.
Yes.
Intend.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw Marcus Samuelson at his restaurant, and I was like almost crying because I was like, you knew Tony.
I know.
It's really pathetic.
No, it's not.
Pathetic.
He did a lot for us, man.
Yeah.
He really
He
did.
did.
And that's the thing. It's like, it's that this man along the way was like, I hate performing for y'all.
Oh
Right.
my God.
Every
It's
single-
And
all
what
the
he
time.
went through.
Yeah.
His struggles with his mental health, through all of that, and that made me want to kind of ask you, like, how do you find that balance? Because a part of it is, it's a part of your craft, it's a part of the work that you do, and it's like you want to be in the moment, but you need to get the content, and then you need to work on whatever the project may be, whether it's a podcast, the photography, whatever else you may be doing. Like, how do you balance the two?
And there's a bag involved.
There is a bad.
Right.
It's my full time. Like, I'm
that's your
full
full-time.
time creative work.
Right. You're not just doing it to be like, hashtag Tower of Pisa.
Right. Exactly. But I think the benefit comes from, and I think, Glynn, we've talked about this, of like, it was never the full-time bag. It just became the full-time bag like 3 years ago. So it's like I had a job. The people that are most delusional in the industry have never had like a real job. Like you've never had a shitty boss for real. Like it's like for me, I worked with my family staffing agency, but we also dealt with the mental illness and developmentally disabled population. So like I took care of people so it's like you in home care, we were dealing with staff, but for people that may have, schizophrenia or borderline personality disorder, we're providing staffing for these people. So medication, anything that you need, like daily living services. So if you can't cook breakfast, we provide staff to go do that. So I was a part of the staff when we were just beginning. So firsthand, like I always tell Courtney, my husband, the story of like, there was a woman that I'd met who was getting her PhD at University of Michigan. I had to go pick her up. Like I was staff. I had to go pick her up at a facility. And you have to read the bios of people before, like if you're a manager and stuff, before you pick up a client, you get the bio, you get the service plan, essentially. So what you need to do, how often they take medication, what they need assistance with. And, I read that, I was like, she was getting her PhD at University of Michigan. So I'm picking her up. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we'll be able to have a conversation eventually. Months go by, trust is built. And she tells me that like one day, she's in the program, she's at home, her kids are away, and she's watching an episode of CSI, and she thought it was real. And she burned down her house with everything in it.
Oh my God.
With everything in it. She had a mental break.
Oh shit.
Randomly.
I was not expecting that.
Neither.
Randomly.
Everything before up to that point,
Up until that point, she's at one of the top universities in the country.
Right.
Oh my God.
Like I just felt like it was real, and I needed to do this thing, and my kids still don't forgive me. And she's telling me her story,
God,
and I'm taking her to I'm dropping her off at Lane Bryant because she's trying to find a job, get back to a certain sense of normalcy. She's like, my now 1 month plan is to get my own apartment. I went from wanting to complete a doctorate program to I want to be able to get my own apartment and be able to administer my medication on my own. Like that's how quickly life can change.
Yes.
That's how quickly life can change. And I've been fortunate to work with a population that's often ignored and understand what the signals of that's why I think I opened with the performative vulnerability, because I've seen what mental illness is.
Yes.
Like at a ground level. So for me, focusing on when I'm creating these things, what I can control. I can control the art that I'm creating. I can control how often I put it out. I can't control the world's response to it. And I think obsessing over that is what I've seen lead to severe mental health issues of trying to control the thing you can't control. Because I've seen people at the bottom be like, I just want to be able to take my medication. I just want to be able to fill out an application. These are the things I can't control that are keeping me grounded. So I take that lesson from my work, my 15 years of work in this area of being like, what can I control? How can I focus on that? Even with art, how can I focus on that? And how can I just move through it? Because if I focus on everything apart from that, of where I like, oh, why don't I have X amount of followers, or, you know, I put a week's worth of work in this video and nobody, you know, like the algorithm, and like it's like like you will never hear me complain about the algorithm. Like,
really?
No, you will never just hear me complain about it, because maybe having a partner in tech, like they don't even know what goes into this. It's built, and then it's teaching itself.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, it's favoring this, and if you post the yellow text on the big thing with the like, it's like
now it's about saves. Now it's about sends.
Thank you. It's like, bro, they're asking you to post morning, noon, and night. It's like, yo, this shit is stupid. Make your shit and go about your day.
Yeah.
You know, like make your shit off of these platforms. Get 1,000 true fans and make a living. Like that's what I'm on, of where.
And the authentic connections, I think, and that's something that we slowly, I think, are starting to understand.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
It can be discouraging.
It can take a toll on you.
It can take a toll, and you're like hiding the likes and hiding the comments.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
The
and others.
Giving and others. This one didn't hit.
It's giving and others. Yet I'm taking that. I'm stealing it. Like, it's giving and others. Like, you know, everybody experiences it. The Kardashians were complaining about video being popular, you know, because this shit is not hitting for them. 3 million likes is low for them.
Right.
And they're like, that's why it's infinite. We're never satiated and satisfied. It is like, you think getting 100,000 likes on this photo, that'll be your new mean.
Yep.
Anything below that is a failure. So it's like focusing on that it's trivial. Like, you do 1,000 of anything, and you'll get those people that are like actually interested in what you're doing. You don't even have to do 1,000. I think you do 100. Most people don't get to 100.
Right. There's 100 people looking at you. That's like kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yes. And people who actually
are engaging.
Are engaged. And
yes.
Ideally are not just like, you know.
Yes.
I've been thinking about how life has so many chapters, and I think we have been conditioned to think that 30 is old, and then after that it's over.
Yes.
And I'm watching, you know, so many of my family members as they're getting older enter into new phases of their life. My aunt, who was like a big inspiration to me, was a dancer, and then she worked in film, and now she's like, I think I'm gonna go get certified as like a yoga instructor.
And she moved to Paris and lives there now and has a whole Parisian life with a dancer in Paris.
Yeah.
We're gonna see her when we go.
Like a whole
so cool.
a whole thing. So if you had to think about the next chapter, and let's say like it's a 25 to 30 year chapter. Like, where do you see yourselves, especially as travel people and loving different spaces? Like, what could you see in let's call it chapter 3? I don't know what the first one was.
I love that.
That's a phenomenal question. I'm like
Look at me.
running.
I'm
like running a bar somewhere tropical. Like,
oh,
literally, like
yes!
I'm like, you know, like the curator of vibes for the spot. Like, it's just, that's what I see of like small bites, food. I've just always been passionate about it, but I think during the pandemic, or the height of it, it's like I just found so much. Two of our friends would come over a lot, and I'd just make cocktails and like small bites and stuff like, and it was just it was just so fulfilling. It was so fulfilling.
Yes.
Like, I didn't have to show it, and I love the media space. I love photography. I love film. I love all that stuff. But it's like, I think when you're at a bar by yourself and the bartender is talking to you, there's no place you feel more seen. Even if you have a mocktail, you know what I mean? Even if you have a mocktail, this person is like looking at like, I made it for you. I'm feeding you. I think I want to have something to do with feeding people in a different way, and that would be my act.
Oh. Chapter 3, Glynn.
Chapter 3.
Don't ask me how I got to 3.
It makes
I like
sense.
that,
For some
though.
reason,
Yeah, it does.
Sound right
Makes
to me.
sense. Right.
Chapter 3.
it
I truly don't know how to answer that question. I don't know. Why are you
like
looking at me like?
I feel like you do. I feel like you do.
Do I?
Yes.
I don't know.
There's something professorial about, I think, that chapter for you.
Oh, thank you for giving me that language, actually, because I've been thinking about that, actually,
You
recently.
love to teach.
I do want to teach. Yes, I would love to teach. And I would love to, okay, yeah, thank you. I needed like a little seed. just to start dreaming. Because the one thing I was going to say is that, like, right now, I could have never predicted the way that I'm living right now. And I'm doing shit that I'm every day, I'm like, what? Like, I'm about to go to Europe and I'm going to fly Delta One?
Oh, she had to drop that.
She had to.
No, because I'm also just like, what? Like, I just want to keep, like, indulging in all the things and, like, just, like, ooh, feeling it all. And, like, I just want everything to be fabulous as fuck. I really do.
Agreed.
I want lavishness. I really do.
Lavish professor.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
Which, side note, I was going to talk to y'all about this earlier, but I don't know if you saw that article in New York Magazine about, like, how much it costs to actually live lives. So,
Ciao.
like, whew, we can talk about that offline. But yeah, like, I just want to be, like, on the go. Bring me out to do a talk somewhere. I'm in residence someplace and I'm toting my kids along and my European husband that I'm going to meet on the trip.
Wait. Passing through expectations. No,
Stop.
no, I'm here for this.
The
I'm
full
here for this.
circles. The full circles are wild on
What
this
about
show.
yours? Chapter 3?
Yes.
Okay. I had a leg up because I've been thinking about this. I like definitely want to have some type of industry shift. Like my obsession with my back and like, and like
recent obsession.
It was an injury that I once had that brought me here to this invention.
But like I was like, oh my God, like what if I learned like Reiki healing or acupuncture or something with movement, or I was teaching some type of class. Like, I don't know. I'm everyone probably thinks I'm so dramatic and I'm a Leo and this is just who I am. But like it's these moments that I realize like how important the body is and being able to move and movement and health and like how do I bring that to people? I don't know. That's like one part of it. But then I think another part of it is like being in a totally different place.
Yes.
Like I always joke about my farm. It's like
/ cult.
/
Commune.
Community.
Right. Community.
Right. It's like, am I not in New York? I feel like I've like fixated on this home that I have, but like I don't have to stay there.
No.
Am I traveling around? Do I have a little villa in like a random town in Italy?
Yes.
And like I bring people out and we move our bodies. I don't fucking know, but I'm just like, the sky's the limit. Like I want to like
seeing a retreat.
I am too.
That we could start.
What?
I'm like, I wanna like embrace these chapters, not get so stuck in this idea of like the mill and like being able to reinvent yourself. Like I have been on this path in terms of my own career that's led me to where I am, but like that's not it. Like you're not just a photographer. You're not just a writer. You're not just a writer. I'm not just whatever the hell I do.
Stop it.
But you know, and
Yeah.
I think that travel and like navigating all of that kind of helps you realize like you're not just this one definition of yourself. So I'm excited for chapter 3.
Yeah. That makes me think back to that thing I was touching on earlier about like all these parts are your life, right? That nothing has to be contained.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like we talked about this on a previous episode too. Like I'm just trying to lean into like the expansiveness of being alive, the possibilities. And that, like you said, life can change super fast.
So
whether
fast.
it could go a dark way or you could just fucking make a shift and find yourself in someplace amazing.
Absolutely.
You know? Get up tomorrow and say, fuck this job.
Truly though.
And be out.
It's getting close.
It's
What would you all make your chapter 3? I want the listeners to really think about that. I know our listeners range in all ages and demographics, but I think there is definitely a younger woman that's listening to us, and we have a lot of young ladies come up to us and say, you know, you guys are like big sisters to me, but like don't get caught in this expectation of what you see on social media and what you think is perfect and what you think is like how you need to be in the cookie cutter way of living, and really think about like pouring into yourself, being the best version of yourself,
listening to yourself.
And what could that blossom and flourish into?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you want to be talking about in your last days?
Yes.
Like that is the question.
Oh my God, this makes me think, because I was thinking about this earlier. Nneka also has a newsletter called words I needed this week.
Oh yeah, it's a
Correct?
section of
A section.
Yes, a series.
Yes, and there
Yes.
was a quote in here in one of your newsletters from Gloria Naylor that said, "I don't believe that life is supposed to make you feel good or to make you feel miserable either. Life is just supposed to make you feel." For some reason, that makes me feel like that encompasses this moment.
It really does.
Where it's just like, yeah, I want to feel life. I want to be super present in it at all times, and just like
That's profound.
drive from
That's
that.
profound.
You know,
Because that means you're not running. And I
That
think like
source.
it's hyper, since we're like hyper soft life right now, you know, like it's
We are
like
hyper soft life.
hyper soft. It's like, feeling, it's the range. It's a range of emotions. Like there, without shadow, there is no light. You know, like without grief, there is no joy, and vice versa. It's like allowing yourself to feel is a spectrum of emotions. It's not just like I need pleasure all the time. It's not possible.
No, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, seriously,
I'm gonna keep
seriously.
chasing it.
Look at you. You're gonna keep
I'm chasing
Listen,
it.
ride the roller coaster. Ride the roller
ride the
coaster.
wave.
Yes. Nneka, this is amazing. Wow. Please come back again.
Please come
What?
back.
I'm in front of the show.
Yeah.
Please come back.
We're going to do this offline.
Truly.
Owe me cocktails
I do.
in the backyard.
I do.
I was like,
You're
you
in on
like
the
to make
plan.
cocktails and
I
bites.
do.
Right, exactly.
What?
I
What?
can grill.
Come through.
She's in the sty.
I am.
Oh, come on, neighbor.
It's over.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, please tell the
Please.
listeners all the ways to find you, engage.
I'm at Nneka J. That's NNEKA on IG. Letters from a Stranger is the newsletter. Passing Through the podcast. And that's pretty much it. Find me.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Y'all already know what it is. Damn, this is Chelsea's part. So I'm like, what am we supposed to tell y'all? Listen to us. I guess you already did because you're already here. But check out the YouTube if you want to see some beautiful faces and me contorting around. Subscribe to the Patreon if you want the real tea. Check our Twitter out. That's Black Girls Text 1. We're on the Tiki-Taki. And Geneva has been just a beautiful, growing community. So definitely check that out. I'll make sure that the link is in the show description. And I think I covered all the things.
I think you got it. Subscribe to the newsletter, which is on blackgirlstexting.com. You can tap in there.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
And
it.
if you're, on the other side of the world and it's chilly where you are, cop a sweatshirt. Or have one as a layering piece.
Yeah, we have merch.
Yes.
Sade's in the merch right now.
Black girl.
What?
Black Girls
doing
Texting.
shit.
Black Girl
The
doing
merch
shit.
looks good, y'all.
We'll get you one.
Yeah, I need
Yes.
I need the merch.
Yes. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.